The courtroom felt colder today, though the morning sun had bathed the city in warmth. A subtle chill in the air seemed to mirror the tension in Sarah's chest as she stood at the threshold of the room. Years had passed since she'd last been here, and the path to the court seemed heavier today, weighted with memories of the past. Each step was a reminder of how far she'd fallen, but also how far she had climbed since then. Her hands trembled as she crossed the floor to the defendant's table, her heart pounding in her chest. Once, she had stood in this same room, lost in the depths of addiction. Now she was different, stronger, calmer. The years had reshaped her, and although her past was far from erased, Sarah was no longer defined by it. She had learned to carry it with her as part of who she was, but not as the weight that once dragged her down. Judge Caprio, seated high above her, didn't show surprise, though his keen eyes tracked her every movement. He had seen the agony of many faces, the sorrow of countless lost souls. But there was something different about Sarah today, something unspoken. The courtroom hummed with anticipation as everyone seemed to hold their breath, waiting for what was to come. A soft murmur rippled through the room as Sarah closed her eyes briefly, the weight of her memories pulling her into the past. The courtroom, once a cold, indifferent place, now faded into the background as flashes of her life unfolded in her mind. She was a young mother then, a hopeful, bright-eyed woman with dreams for her children. But the drug addiction had come like a thief in the night, quietly stealing everything she had. She saw herself, an addict, her world spinning out of control, dragging her further into darkness. The first hit felt like a release, a break from the chaos in her head. Soon it became all she craved, pushing everything else aside. Her children, her job, her dignity, all sacrificed at the altar of her addiction. There had been moments of clarity, but they were fleeting, drowned in a haze of numbness and regret. The final breakdown came in the form of an overdose. That was when everything shattered. The arrest, the police, the cold separation from her children, it was all too much. But even in the depths of despair, something inside her refused to give up. A spark, small but fierce, told her that she was worth more than the woman she had become. The road to recovery was long and jagged, filled with pain and rejection. But Sarah fought through it, piece by piece. Rehab, therapy, rebuilding her life from the ground up. It had taken everything she had, but it was the only thing that mattered now. The sound of papers rustling echoed in the courtroom as the counselor who had been by Sarah's side for 2 years stood up to speak. She was calm, composed, her voice steady as she addressed Judge Caprio. "Sarah has made remarkable progress," the counselor began, her eyes flicking towards Sarah. "She has been sober for over a year now. She's found steady employment and is fully committed to parenting classes. She's even reconnected with her children, rebuilding relationships that once seemed irreparably broken." The words settled in the air like a quiet promise. Sarah's eyes flickered with emotion as the counselor continued. "Her transformation has not just been external, it's a change deep within her, one that has required immense strength and humility. She's not the same woman who walked into rehab all those months ago." Judge Caprio's gaze never left Sarah, his expression unreadable, but there was a slight shift in his posture, a subtle acknowledgement of what was unfolding before him. Sarah had fought her way out of darkness. That much was clear, but the question remained. Was it enough? A long silence hung in the courtroom as Judge Caprio leaned forward, his fingers steepled in thought. He took his time, as if weighing the many lives that had come before him in this room, the stories of struggle and redemption. Sarah's heart thudded in her chest, each beat a reminder of how much was on the line. Finally, Judge Caprio spoke, his voice calm but firm, the weight of his words filling the room. "Sarah, the law did its part in punishing you when you were at your lowest, but the true measure of justice isn't just about punishment, it's about redemption. You've shown this court that you're not just sorry for your actions. You've proven that you are capable of change." He paused, his eyes now fixed on her with quiet respect. "Your probation is dismissed. You've earned this second chance." A soft gasp from the courtroom. Sarah sat still, her breath catching in her throat. She had come into this room expecting the worst, but now, for the first time in years, she felt the weight of her past lift from her shoulders. Her eyes filled with tears, not of regret, but of relief. She had done it. She had won her second chance. The quiet applause that followed felt distant, as though the room had been suspended in time. Sarah wiped her eyes, her hands shaking, but there was a smile tugging at her lips, a smile that had been absent for far too long. As Sarah slowly made her way out of the courtroom, the narrator's voice filled the air, soft and contemplative. The law punished them once, but grace rebuilt them forever. In the end, Sarah's story wasn't just about the legal system. It was about a woman's journey back to herself, a journey that had been hard, painful, and filled with setbacks. But it was also a story of the power of second chances, of redemption that came not from avoiding consequences, but from confronting them and choosing to change. If this story moved you, consider subscribing for more stories where real justice meets real humanity. Every story has its challenges, but with the right choices, transformation is always possible.